Good morning and welcome to Taub Live. Yes, yesterday will definitely backfire on Donald Trump and the Republicans, and we are seeing that already. So what yesterday's breaking news was, which continues to affect us today, is that Donald flippin' Trump, the most mendacious, malevolent moron to walk this earth and achieve the power of the top office in the United States, if not the world, did something that is such a clusterfuck that he can't even get out of his own way. And let me tell you, I take it quite seriously, but we need to understand in plain terms what the hell he did yesterday. And most importantly, we will show that a federal judge, Judge Ali Khan, stopped him. So before we get to that punchline and what goes next in this ridiculous clown car saga of a presidential administration, I need to let you know what I'm referring to. It was yesterday morning, a 2-page memo went out from the acting director of the Office of Management and Budget, right? This is part of the Trump administration. And the memo, was sent to, it says, memorandum for heads of executive departments and agencies. And the subject line was temporary pause of agency grant loan and other financial assistance programs. Now, that is what the headline was. We are going to talk about the bottom line, right? The headline doesn't tell you the bottom line, and then we will get evil personified, Stephen Miller, to try to justify this. I'm not getting him on the show, no fucking way. Although I have spoken to him and have him recorded. So that's not unheard of. But I don't think I want to get within his sights at this particular moment in his career trajectory. What goes up must come down. I'm just going to wait right now, right? Yeah, okay. I'm selling high for Steve. Now, I want to play for you what that memo meant. And there is no one better, I think, than first Elizabeth Warren to tell you what it meant. Let's play this.
For what you're doing, President Trump broke the law and shut down a huge chunk of government funding. That means little kids in preschool may stop getting their school lunches. Meals on Wheels, the folks bringing hot food to seniors could grind to a halt. Nursing homes funded by Medicaid don't know how to pay their workers. Whether you live in a red state or a blue state, this is a lot of pain on a lot of people. And that is just the start. If you're working to cure cancer, your funding was just paused. If you run a homeless shelter, your budget now has a big hole in it. How do you feed people? If you work at a veterans nonprofit, you're scrambling to get answers. Donald Trump promised to bring down the cost of living for working people on day one. Well, here we are at the start of week 2, and he's ripping away the programs that help people breathe a little easier. We gotta fight back.
And we are fighting back. As you heard live on this show, Randy Weingarten, head of my union, the American Federation of Teachers, said that she was going to sue. But what we also know that many states, including the state of Michigan and others, brought a lawsuit in federal court in the District of Columbia, and the judge has halted this order's effectiveness until Monday. Now, I'm going to get to that later, but we need to talk more about what is in and what is not in this order. And let me just be clear to you. I'm about to play you the Stephen Miller clip. And he's going to make some representations about what the language of the order says in black and white. But the problem is he and the lawyers who work for him are complete idiots. And what he is saying is in black and white is not actually in black and white. So let's play Stephen Miller on with Jake Tapper, as Jake Tapper asks him, what the fuck are you doing?
How long is this review going to take? And when does the federal funding for these programs resume?
Well, in the original executive order that addressed NGOs, foreign aid, and other grants, that was a 90-day review process, as you know, Jake. But again, more fundamentally, I think we're...
I need to now talk to you about this for 1 second. So I want to make it absolutely clear, two different things have happened. Over the weekend, and when we began the show Monday, we were talking about the freezing, the halting of aid that Congress had already committed, right, under the law, to allocate to foreign aid, right? And we talked about that Donald Trump had no authority under this, to just pause it for 90 days, right? That doesn't exist. And we had done a little bit to explain that of law school. I mean, you may remember this. We talked about, and this is important here, our mini law school lesson, where I promised this would be what we focused on in great depth. And that was, remember, the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, which just celebrated its 50th anniversary. And we talked about, as Steve Vladeck said, this is going to be huge. Steve said this on Monday, right? Monday morning, not yesterday. He said it Monday morning because he was referring to how it was unconstitutional and a violation of law, to be clear here, a violation of statute for Donald Trump to just try to essentially freeze the money going overseas. So that was already happening when we woke up Monday. But yesterday morning, on Tuesday, as we were discussing that problem, Donald Trump said, hold my beer, and went even further to so-called pause, again, not lawful, the federal funding on domestic spending, starving the government, but more importantly, again, a violation of law. Congress has the power of the purse. This happened yesterday morning, and that is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that a federal judge stopped him. That's what we're talking about. Now, okay. Now, I just played you Stephen Miller, and we're going to play a little more of that clip. Stephen Miller, I'm going to start it back at the beginning of it so you can hear it all the way through. Stephen Miller talking to Jake Tapper. In the very beginning of that clip, Tapper is asking, when does this investigation end? So let me just say, what they're trying to do now is claim that they don't want to hold back forever all federal spending. They just want to take a microscope to every program, every entity that's funded, and see if there's anything in there that is what they're calling like Marxist or whatever the hell it is. They're against diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they're against anything about climate change. They want to somehow go through funding across the government, billions of dollars, and they're going to try to ferret out, sniff out any positive programs that are dealing with climate change or encouraging diversity, equity, or inclusion. And then they'll let the program move forward. Now, this is utterly insane. How is that, first of all, legal? And as a practical matter, what the fuck? So you are going to hold back Meals on Wheels. There are seniors sitting in their homes waiting for their only sustenance, and you're just going to let them starve? Kids going to Head Start, the teachers are laid off, the kids stay home. What are the parents going to do for work? It goes on and on and on. And Steve tries to justify this. And let me just play again from the beginning without breaking so you can understand what's going on here and the bullshit they are peddling us.
How long is this review going to take? And when does the federal funding for these programs resume?
Well, in the original executive order that addressed NGOs, foreign aid, and other grants, that was a 90-day review process, as you know, Jake. But again, more fundamentally, I think we're missing the big point here. Do you believe, does anyone believe, that an unaccountable, career-tenured bureaucrat should be able to approve vast sums of money for the projects that they personally agree with, that no accountable employee in the federal government has reviewed?
I'm literally asking about Meals on Wheels. I mean,
we are
I don't know what you're talking
Jake, yes,
about.
Jake, you do know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, as the memo says in black and white letters, no financial benefit programs to Americans are affected. No individual assistance programs are affected. It's there in black and white.
Okay. It's not there in black and white. I have read through it, and without getting totally into the weeds, it's a poorly written letter. And basically, what it says, I'm reading the part he's saying, this memorandum requires federal agencies to identify and review all federal financial assistance programs and supporting activities consistent with the president's policies and requirements. Now, there's a footnote that says nothing in the memo. This memo should be construed to impact Medicare or Social Security benefits. Okay, so they singled that out. What about Medicaid and things like that? Now, he is saying that he thinks in black and white, it's clear that this shouldn't apply to what he said, money that goes to individuals. But actually, what that footnote says is, they say for purposes of this memo, and they list federal assistance includes, and they list all these different programs. And they said, except for assistance received directly by individuals. Now, the problem with this is, and let me just be clear as a lawyer, is when you think about it, I don't know if you know how funding works, but you don't, Social Security, you're getting that check directly, right, from the government. But as for Meals on Wheels, I think you damn well know that it's not like Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, is hopping in a truck or on an airplane and directly giving you your meal. How do you think Meals on Wheels gets to people, right? It gets to people through grants that are administrated, to local agencies and so on. And so in my reading this, I can't tell how this works. I mean, I am not an expert in how federal assistance programs work, and unfortunately, all of us might become one. But as I read it, I think Elizabeth Warren's reading, my former law professor, is a lot better than Steve Miller's reading. So even if they're claiming that they intended it not to go directly to, not to affect Meals on Wheels, why is the only program that they say are excluded, right, is Social Security and Medicare, right? That's the only thing they said. So to me, what they're talking about is grants and funds that go to the states, like block grants, et cetera, that then get distributed to local organizations to distribute to people. That ends. Meals on Wheels is not Bitcoin on wheels. It's not cash on wheels. Elderly people are not being given money. They're being given food. The money, the assistance goes to those local organizations. Now, I need to know more about how lawyers are interpreting this. But again, I trust Elizabeth Warren. So you can see the chaos and confusion, right? Now, I got more for you on chaos and confusion. If you didn't think that this was enough of the mendacity, the malevolence, and the moronic leadership, oh boy, I've got more, because yesterday just kept spinning out. I mean, and what is, you could only write in the movies. The Office of Personnel Management used the emergency notification system. Emergency notification. You sign up for these. I do for my city or my law school. If there's an emergency, like there's a flood or a power outage, if there, God forbid, is something like some violence or what have you. That hasn't happened yet. But you're or if there's a snowstorm, they say no on-street parking. You get the text, and you can get the email or even the phone message, and maybe the trifecta, all three. I know you know what I'm talking about when I talk about one of these emergency management systems. Well, there's one at the federal level, and the Office of Personnel Management, if you can flipping believe it, sent something out at Donald Trump's behest, offering to pretty much all of the, I think it's like 2 or 3 million, I think it's closer to 2 million, I'll confirm in a second, government employees, federal government employees, an offer email saying like, okay, you can basically quit your job. I mean, resign now, right? Go ahead and resign now. And if you accept this resignation, then you can get a great buyout, right? It's this like letter saying you hate it here. And they're offering what they call, specifically in this emergency management offering, it said deferred resignation, right? If you don't want to come back to the office, they're saying you can resign. And let me just read you the crazy language. If you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits, regardless of your daily workload, and will be exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until September 30th, 2025, or earlier if you choose to accelerate. And now, keep in mind that right now, only 6% of federal employees work full-time in the office. So there are about 2 million government employees across the country that might accept this offer. And the problem here is it tells you to like reply to the email with something like the word I accept or something like that. Now, the flipping problem is it's not clear, number one, that Donald Trump has the authority to make that offer. But what is crystal clear is he will breach that contract. He never pays anybody. And we know this because Elon Musk is in the background trolling this. Now, let me just make this clear again. Donald Trump has set out a trap for federal employees. And a lot of employees would probably love to quit and just move on. Some can't. But because he did this, word is out, they shouldn't respond. And you know where word came out? This is even crazier. Here we go. I actually need to blow this up. You're not going to believe this. So, in addition, I'm sorry, I kind of did this backwards. Oh boy, guys. I said it's a little bit backwards. Let me just say this. People got an email from the Office of Personnel Management, hold on, saying, look, you can defer your quitting. You can quit today, never go back to the office, 2 million people, and they expect around 200,000 would accept it. Don't go back to the office and we'll pay you through September. That's what they're saying, okay? That was an email from the Office of Personnel Management. What went out through the flipping emergency management system was this. This is crazy. Okay, so this is Jay Willis reporting this out. Hearing from federal employees tonight, this was last night, who are getting a message via their agency's emergency notification system. So you work at an agency, you're getting, instead of there's a storm or there's COVID or what have you, you're getting this notice. It's usually reserved for snow-related office closures. And it says something like, do not respond to that email under any circumstances. We have no idea if any of these promises are real, something to that effect. And when you actually look at this over on Twitter, it's like different agencies say different things. You may have received or heard about an email from hr@opm.gov regarding deferred resignation. Do not respond to it. Do not respond to it. What an absolute clusterfuck. I mean, I cannot believe the Office of Personnel Management sets out an email offering about 2 million civilian employees, basically almost all of our civilian employees at these agencies, at these particular agencies, right? All the federal agencies. I'm not talking about every employee who works in Washington here in government. I'm talking about these federal agency employees. 2 million get an email saying, want to quit and get paid through September? Great. And then the agencies are separately immediately sending out emergency text messages and other forms in their emergency management system, not announcing a snow day, but announcing a snow job. This is a flippin' emergency snow job. Now, let me tell you, guys, what Tim Kaine, Senator from Pennsylvania, had to say about this. So you know the Democrats are on this, and then I've got a little more about Elon Musk acting like a freak behind the scenes. Here we go.
Message to federal employees who receive this is, yeah, the president has tried to terrorize you for about a week and then gives you a little sweetheart offer. If you resign in the next week, we're just going to pay you for doing nothing for the next 7 months. Don't be fooled. He's tricked hundreds of people with that offer. If you accept that offer and resign, he'll stiff you just
He's from Virginia, not Pennsylvania. Thank you.
like he stiffed the contractors. He doesn't have any authority to do this. Do not be fooled by this guy. You were here before he was here, and you'll be here after he was here. Show up for work, be diligent, serve Americans every day, make their life better, answer their phone call, give them an answer, track down their constituent call. Don't be fooled by a fake offer.
Okay. Wow. So, do you want to hear about how Elon Musk is kind of behind this? This is going to take you down a rabbit hole. Who wants a rabbit hole? Who wants the rabbit hole? I think you do. Okay, let's do this. So, okay, this is something Elon Musk had put up previously. 2 years ago, I commissioned an art piece and something he'd done previously. Okay, so he made this art piece. 2 years ago, I commissioned an art piece, a fork in the road. Had to make sure that civilization took the path most likely to pass the Fermi Great Filters. No, we're not going down a Fermi Great Filters rabbit hole. What we're saying is, why the F did Elon Musk just post a picture of this giant fork in the road? Okay, he is trolling us. And how do I know this? This is where you have to come with me. This is where you have to come with me into Reddit. I don't know if you've ever been in Reddit, but welcome to the 21st century, my friends. Okay, so here we are. I think I'm sharing my Reddit screen with you. I am, and I want to blow this up a little bit. Now, I am not, obviously, a member of Reddit, but I've watched it, looked at it, and the reason why I know about this is because of Blue Sky. So Reddit is this great bulletin board. So let me start at the beginning. You can see this, and I'm going to actually also do what I like to do, which is drop into the chat. Here we go. There's the Reddit link for those who want to be able to do this at home. So I am going to show you where my source is, and now you can look at it. And I'm not really going to keep sharing it because I think it's really distracting. So I am telling you where I'm looking. So we have about 11 hours ago on the Reddit bulletin board, or the Reddit room. There's different language that I'm using than they use, but the Reddit says r/Fed News. So that's like a bulletin board or chat area. And it says, headline, this non-buyout really seems to have backfired. And this poster says, I think it's HR is their name, or maybe the poster is few-drag 9758, and the topic is HR. Okay, this poster says, I'll be honest, before that email went out, I was looking for any way to get out of this fresh hell. But now I am fired up to make these goons as frustrated as possible. RTO be damned. Hold the line. Then we have someone named Both Wasabi say, this is a Musk email. Okay, they believe Elon Musk is behind this email that went out from the Office of Personnel Management. And here's how we know. A Twitter post noticed this, quote, new. The memo sent to government employees this evening offered them buyouts very closely mirroring an email Musk sent to Twitter employees in 2022 down to the same subject line. What was the subject line? You guessed it, a fork in the road. And then a very funny part of this chain, someone said Control C, that's what you do when you copy something. Control V, that's the paste. And Musk, colon, yeah, they'll never know what hit him. Someone else said a fork up his ass, just firing us up. Someone else said, I was thinking go fork yourself, but that works too. By the way, he never actually paid the people who took that deal in 2022. X, formerly known as Twitter, still owes about $500 million in severance payments. And let's go back to what I was telling you about the fork in the road. Yesterday, my friends, Elon Musk took this and pinned it on his Twitter profile. He is totally fucking with us. Basically, Elon Musk, in his Doge activities, his so-called Department of Government Efficiency, has decided that the way to go is to offer buyouts, essentially, to a sort of deferred retirement or whatever, or deferred, what is the word? Like, they're offering essentially, you're deferring your resignation. So they're offering this deferred resignation, which is essentially a buyout. You don't show up from now until September, we still pay you, right? He didn't live up to that promise, and he's having Donald Trump do the same effing thing. What a trap. Don't fall for it. Please spread the word as widely as you can. Now I need to go back to this. I need to go back to say to you a little more about why we should have hope in the face of all of this, including the judge's order to stop Donald Trump from freezing funding. I often say that hope is the thing with lawyers, and I mean it more than ever today. And let me tell you what is happening with Tom Homan, the ridiculous and sadistic border czar. So Homan, and you know how they're trying to do these ICE raids in Illinois? Well, the good news is word is getting out through immigration lawyers and the community. Something extremely important. And that is, you guys, that ICE, when they come to your door with a so-called warrant, it's not a real warrant. It's not a judge signed criminal warrant. So if ICE comes to your door and knocks, you do not have to open the door. You don't have to let them in. And by the way, if they actually force their way in, you can ask them to leave. And Homan is pissed off because people know their rights. Yes, hope is the thing with lawyers. Okay, so Homan, here's the deal here. Homan went on CNN yesterday to complain that ICE's attempts to arrest Chicagoans have been hampered by the people's knowledge of policy, largely because of the city's so-called Know Your Rights campaign. Yes, fascists rely on your compliance, on your ignorance. They depend on fear. So, yes, hope is not just the thing with lawyers, but it is the thing with knowledge. This is how we, person by person, thwart the efforts of these tyrants, wannabes, these mendacious, malevolent, moronic men who are running our government into the ground. Okay. Now, I have not gotten yet to Crazy Town, but it will get pretty flippin' crazy. What I do have, though, is my person of the day. It is Jim Acosta. And get out your Kleenexes. I'm going to have mine here because this is Jim signing off from his post at CNN. And I'm gonna add him to the stage right now. I have so much respect for him. I want you to play it now. Here we go. Oh, and before I do, you're gonna notice you're going to notice something about what he has to say. What Jim Acosta has to say is one of our themes on this show. Remember, I'm often quoting Alexander Solzhenitsyn and saying the simple step of a courageous individual is not to take part in the lie. Well, Jim and I are aligned like this. Never met the guy, but we think the same way. Let's play it.
Never a good time to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN, and I plan on doing all of that in the future. One final message. Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days, but until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta.
Ooh. Okay. Did they kick him off the show? Did they demand that he cover the news differently? Here's what I know. He will land on his feet, and so will we. One thing I got for you before Crazy Town. As you know, RFK Jr. is facing his confirmation hearings, and the family has denounced him. But Carolyn Kennedy has not specifically spoken out. And thanks to, on Blue Sky, George Conway, I happened to see, I wouldn't have seen it, the letter she wrote. And I can't read all of it to you, but I want to share for you what she had to say. It's just 2 pages, and I recommend that you take a look at it. Now, this is a letter that she sent to Senators Mike Crapo, Bill Cassidy, Ron Wyden, and Bernie Sanders. And she tells them what her feelings are about her her cousin. You guys, why am I messing this up? She said, this is her, this is her cousin. And, RFK Jr.'s father is RFK, and obviously her father was JFK. JFK was once our president, and as you know, RFK was running for president when he was assassinated. JFK, that happened when he was in office. At one point, his father had been attorney general. Okay, so what Carolyn says in this letter, it's devastating. She says, I have known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. And he said, it's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets because he himself is a predator. That is the case. She goes on to describe him essentially, the best I can call it here, is almost like a Pied Piper, charismatic and dangerous. She described when he was in college, basically as a major hub for drug dealing. And she described, though she admires that he was able to fight his demons and get over his own addiction, not so for other family members who succumbed. So she makes it very clear that he is unqualified for the job and also dangerous, that he is woefully ignorant and doesn't care to learn about the medical information that does not support his views. So we will look out for that more. Now, because I have something really fabulous for you. Before we actually get, my friends, to Crazy Town, I have something else. And this is the most, I'm trying to get to, I think I've got this. We have for our show, someone who is not a person necessarily, right? This is someone on our show who is, I want to say, our mascot. And our mascot I think, is appropriately named. Our pet, so to speak, is appropriately named, and will actually appear in different forms on our show. And this mascot is a pet, and I think somebody knows who is listening now, of one of our viewers whose name will remain anonymous. Okay, so you know how during the Tiananmen Square uprising, there was a man who stood in front of the tank, a giant tank. I think he was on his way home from the store. He had a grocery bag. Someone made a documentary about him, Tank Man. Well, we have a tortoise. I love this. We have a tortoise by the name of Tank, and I need to share this picture with you. So Tank, I was trying to put this on here, but it was not letting me because we had a limited number we're allowed, but Tank will not be deterred. And here we go. Here is Tank, the rescue tortoise. Yes, my friends, Tank, the rescue tortoise, from a member and beloved watcher of this show, beloved viewer. So this is our mascot for a while. I'm not saying Tank, the tortoise, has to be the mascot, and I'm actually forgetting the breed of rescue tortoise this is. But this is Tank. And Tank has survived so much more than we have. And Tank, it turns out, my friends, Tank is also a huge fan of the show. And you may think, how in the world do I know that? But my friends, I have evidence that Tank actually loves this show. Tank the turtle is watching us. And I'm trying to find this image, guys. I don't mean to slow you down here, but there we have it. Okay, I found it. So Tank, you may say a tortoise. You may say to yourself, what do tortoises actually know, right? You may think tortoises have no need to take in the news. You may think, a tortoise is just a pet, that a tortoise is not somebody who would, care for a version of the news that is easily digestible and not disturbing. But if that's what you think, I'm telling you that you are woefully ignorant. And, the reason why I say this to you is because it is a fact. And so I need to share with you evidence of Tank the tortoise watching our show. And I am going to do that right now. Tanky, where are you? Here we go. This is Tank, and this is our evidence that he is a huge fan of the show. Okay, now that is not even Crazy Town. Okay, guys, let's do it. Crazy Town now. Crazy Town are the people who are doing what they can to try to make it look like it's perfectly acceptable for Donald Trump to starve children, to take away meals, because they want it, or to starve children of what they need, Head Start, school lunches. And so here is, if you can believe it, I kid you not, we have this Chiron. We have GOP Rep McCormick on CNN telling Pamela Brown that this is the Chiron, that many kids who depend on school breakfast and school lunch are, quote, sponging off the government. Sponging off the government. Yes, crazy.